if you have not joined in on the carnivore diet, what are you waiting for? I know that sometimes we need a challenge, and the reason why I issued the challenge in the first place was because without a challenge, without something hard to do, it's hard to get up and fight, right? So we need some resistance, and we know that when we have resistance, we grow. And that when we have new experiences, we also grow. When we go through things that are difficult, when we go through things that are painful, we tend to grow. Think about like in the gym, when you do those sets of 20 of squats, how painful are those? But then how much benefit do you end up reaping from that? Your legs do get sore and you go through some agonizing stuff for the next couple days, but your quads will get bigger, they'll get in the shape that you want, and you'll be able to work your way towards the body that you want. I have learned, over the years to lean into the resistance of life, and when there's a good opportunity, when there's a good hard challenge, I'm kind of thinking to myself, don't turn that down, because the opportunity that it's going to bring, it is a lot of work, but I think that all of us could do a better job of, when we see the word work, we should really see the word opportunity, because it just gives us another opportunity to get better. And so this carnivore diet, and the reason why I issued this challenge, let's keep in mind Sean Baker is the one that started this. He's the one that started World Carnivore Month. But I wanted to issue the challenge out to all of my fans and all the people that I know. And if you haven't joined in yet, it ain't too late, because we still got many, many days of January. And what I'm about to announce next is also going to be very difficult. But for those of you that have been on board, for those of you that have already been working hard, you're going to reap some really cool benefits. And I got a couple other things planned that I can't really talk about just yet. That's going to get everybody fired up, get everybody super excited. But I really strongly urge you, if you haven't jumped in yet, what do they say? Better late than never, right? You should be joining in, because we still have many days left in January. By the time you watch this, there might only be like 2 days left in January, or it might already be February, but we have more challenges to come. But if there are a couple days left in January, I strongly urge you that you join in. You can see the comments. In the comments below, you're going to see a lot of people sharing their stories of what the carnivore diet is doing for them. And you'll see it in my blog, and you'll see it just all over the place on my Instagram as well. People are super fired up and super pumped. People are losing weight. They're getting healthier. Hopefully you've seen my story on my mother-in-law. And some people got kind of pissed at me about that, because I said it eradicated diabetes, and well, it really does. Eradicate, I mean, you can kind of look up the term and kind of plug it in wherever you think fits. Maybe you disagree with the way I use the word, but when you look up the word, once I saw that the word had the word root in it, I was like, we just annihilated the root cause of diabetes, which is insulin resistance. And it's not like it's annihilated forever. She can't go back to like eating like crap. That doesn't make any sense. She has to stay on the diet, because the diet is going to be what's going to promote health for her. And she's been sticking to the carnivore diet, and it was actually pretty interesting. In the first 3 days, she was able to come off her medication. She came off her medication, she got some pretty good blood sugar readings, and then it kind of spiked back up a couple times. But through lifting, and through eating meat, and through fasting, we have been able to help her fight against disease. And then, like, what other things could it be helping you with? Along with losing weight, I mean, maybe it's helping your lipid profile, your cholesterol to triglyceride ratio, as it's helping me a ton. My triglyceride to cholesterol ratio is phenomenal. And, my actual overall cholesterol is a little high, but that's to be expected. First of all, when you're eating meat, and secondly, when you are losing weight. When you start to lose body fat, your cholesterol will be higher. You can look into the work of he's not a doctor, I don't believe, Dave Feldman. He talks about this a lot, and he knows a lot about cholesterol. And so I don't want to speak, out of turn, but this diet can really change your life. It can have a major impact on how you feel. I feel it's hard to sometimes put into words, but because I've been so meat-minded, and I've been so focused in, and I've been so honed in on meat, and I haven't been eating anything else other than meat, eggs, bone broth, and butter, I feel like I can go outside right now and go for a run. I've never really felt that before. I already trained this morning. I did squats yesterday, and after my squats, I ran. the energy that I have, the focus that I have. You know, there's something that people refer to as zero carb Zen, and it really, you really feel like you're in a different place. You feel like you're a different person. You feel like you were gifted like a new brain. It is some really wild and crazy stuff. And I actually think that my oldest brother, Mike, I think that he would still be here if we had some of this information. If he was able to actually follow the diet, you know, he was very much into lifting. He was very much into fitness. He was into some nutrition, but we just didn't know the stuff that we know now. I think that this can help fight depression. I think this can help fight anxiety. I think that this can help, you know, fight people that are bipolar. I think that when you find a nutrition plan that allows you to get the body that you want and allows you to feel, like, people just don't even have an idea of how bad they currently feel, because you won't really know until you start to feel better. The same thing happens with weight loss. People say, I need to lose like 20 pounds. And that's never the case. I was a personal trainer for many years, and I trained a lot of females, and they would say, you know what, I would really love to lose like 10 pounds. And I was always like, you gotta lose more like 40 or 50, but we'll worry about that when we get there. And that's kind of always the case. Is you know, when you're feeling bad, that's all you know. So that's all you know, is that you don't want to get up off your couch. That's all you know, is that your feet hurt every time you walk. That's all you know, is that your knees hurt every time you go up and down the stairs. But you don't know what the opposite of that feels like, and you try to do different things for it. You try to exercise, you try to walk, you try to maybe eat better, and everyone always says they eat clean, but you don't. You eat very irresponsibly, and you're not really thinking about it that much. But all the little snacks, we're not really designed to be eating that way, and we're not really designed to be eating that much food all the time. These are all things that have a cost. You know, they have a cost. Your metabolism is the human body is a very sophisticated thing. It's a very intelligent thing. Unfortunately, I think we're trying to confuse it too much with all the food that we eat. I don't think we're designed to really eat, you know, all day, every day. Every waking moment, people are thinking about food from the time they wake up till the time they go to bed. Somebody just eats breakfast, they're like, where are we going for lunch? You know, somebody just gets in the office at 9 a.m. and they're like, hey, where are we going for lunch? And they had a snack, you know, with them in the car on their way to work, and meanwhile they ate breakfast as well. So getting into the carnivore diet, you get so locked in, you get, as I called it earlier, you get meat-minded. And when you get meat-minded and you get focused in and honed in on protein, then you stop snacking. It's not appetizing to you anymore to snack. It's not, and you're also, probably the most powerful thing that will happen to you on this diet is you will no longer be ruled by food. Food is really ruling us, and that's really what happened to America, and that's why America is fat and sick. And you know, just from information I've heard, I think it's you know, our children are not gonna outlive the age that we die at, and that's the first time in human history that's ever happened. I don't know if it's still that way, but I remember hearing some of that, you know, 5-10 years ago, and that is just, that's terrible. That is really, really terrible. It's gonna take a long time for us to reverse all the damage that we did. But the more people that we have joining in on this, I think being fat in America will kind of be like smoking cigarettes. Like, you just don't really, you still see cigarettes around here and there. At least, like, I don't see them around nearly as much anymore. Whenever I do see it, I'm kind of like, oh shit, people still do that. So, you know, when you're thinking about, you know, I think 30 years, 40 years, 50 years down the road, I know that obesity continues to increase, but I think it's going to be on the downward trend because of challenges like this. So hopefully you join in on a carnivore diet. It's a lot easier than you think. As with any diet, what I always suggest is don't diet. Don't eat a lot less food. Eat more food. I encourage you to eat as much as you possibly want. Eat as much as you possibly can. We have eggs and whatever variations of meat that you can figure out. Chicken and steak, pork, fish. You want to throw in some cheese here and there. You're more than welcome to have some coffee. And that's pretty much where the diet kind of ends. You got eggs, and you have some bone broth, stuff like that, and that's pretty much the diet. But when you stay on a diet that is that honed in and that focused on that short of a list of foods, then it actually gets easier over a period of time. And something that I really think is really helpful, and something that helps me all the time, is I know that if I'm not hungry for meat, then I'm actually not hungry. And this is a statement. This statement's been around for a really long time, even by companies like Weight Watchers. They said when you feel like you're super hungry, you're actually hungry for protein. But because we're desensitized, our palate is desensitized, our palate is changed because we've eaten Doritos and we've eaten, weird pretzels and weird chips and weird this and weird that. We don't really remember what the meat is supposed to taste like, and so we don't really crave that. So somebody might say, hey, you want a piece of meat or something? You're like, nah, you don't really want it. Or how many times have you let your meat in the refrigerator just, get too old, rot in the refrigerator because you filled your stomach up with snacks and you filled your stomach up with other things? That kind of old adage of don't spoil your dinner, like maybe there was some truth to that. You don't want to spoil your dinner by eating something, an hour or two before your dinner, because it might throw you off your plan. But if you're on the plan, then you don't have much to worry about. And a way to stay on it is to continually feed yourself. And over a period of time, you'll start to eat less. Over a period of time, you'll start to intermittent fast. Like, all these things will happen. So I really do encourage all of you to jump in on World Carnivore Month. And again, I can't urge you enough. In the beginning, for the first 2 weeks, have at it. Eat as much meat and eggs as you want. Get after it a little bit. Maybe eat a little bit more than you're used to. Once you get through that 2-week time period, and once you start to not have the cravings, and once you start to develop a little bit of self-control and self-discipline, it'll just become easier and easier. Don't forget, you got to hit up your 10-minute walks every day, and don't forget, you got to lift. If you're not lifting, I don't even want to talk to you. That's all the time we got. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you all later.